Hello and welcome to all our listeners out there. I am Dr. Tiffany Roberts. This week we are highlighting some very important guests. These amazing practitioners have joined me in our collaborative book, The Way to Wholeness: Stories of Physical, Mental, and Emotional Healing. I am joined now by James Breeding, and he lives with his wife and two kids in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Oh man, I bet that's beautiful there, especially in the spring and the summertime. All right. He holds a bachelor's in business administration from the University of North Texas. He spent several decades in the tech industry, but wanted to work with people versus the machines, right? And he obtained education as a self-sabotage coach, a Psych K master facilitator, conversational hypnotist, and holographic manipulation therapist. He is also pursuing his master's degree in holistic healing from Psychosomatic University. James is the owner of Overcome Self Sabotage LLC. And for many of my listeners, I know that you're going to want to contact this guy because he specializes in helping people overcome chronic pain through the mind body modalities. And these are conditions like back pain, fibromyalgia, IBS, migraines. There's no chance that these issues can stand against the power of the unconscious mind. And James, I know he is very passionate about helping his clients obtain quick relief that they have suffered for many years with these chronic conditions. And his clients have often gone to him after they've gone through years of conventional medicine, and they've had testing and treatments with very little relief. And I know that's very frustrating for a lot of people. And his goal is to help end that chronic pain for as many people as possible while spreading the word about psychosomatic medicine. Thank you, James, for being here today. It's such an honor to be talking with you.
Thanks, Tiffany. I'm excited to talk with everyone today.
So many people suffer from chronic pain in the world today. I know that my mom suffers from fibromyalgia. And can you tell us a little about maybe your own healing journey, or anything that really drew you into the chronic pain field?
Yeah, sure. The one thing that really got me into it was my wife had breast cancer a couple of years back,
Uh-huh.
and that was a whole ordeal.
Mhm.
And realizing that a lot of it was unnecessary,
Mhm.
a lot of conventional medicine techniques that they used. Uh, uh, well, we didn't have to do the chemo, thank God, but
Yeah.
radiation, which was very traumatic for her, surgery, traumatic physically and mentally. And after realizing uh, that a lot of this was probably tied to the death of her parents recently,
Oh.
that a little German new medicine thrown in there with grief,
Mm.
and it was just unnecessary. The whole thing was just unnecessary. Trauma, expense, all of it, just unnecessary. So uh, once I started learning more about chronic pain and its emotional components, it's like here's another field where people are suffering for decades, suffering for absolutely decades, being re-traumatized by going through the diagnosis process, that which can take a few years,
Yeah.
testing, drugs. They just throw drugs at you. It's, let's see if this works. Let's see if that works. Let's see if this works. And the end result, even if they find one that kind of works, it doesn't last. The relief doesn't last, and it's not sustainable. So, chronic maladies have been around. Chronic illnesses of all kinds have been around since since the beginning of time. I've got this book from 1944 on what is it called? Psychosomatic diagnoses. Um, and Helen Flanders Dunbar. And um, I'm just shocked she's talking about these chronic illnesses. They've tackled all these diseases, but they can do virtually nothing for these chronic illnesses. And she just would see that this is just going to keep continuing because we have no solution for this from a medical standpoint. So a physical medical standpoint. So that got me really interested in it. And it's just like, okay, wow, and chronic illnesses, chronic pain is epidemic in the United States, at least. I'm sure it's a problem all over the world, but I think it's estimated 50 million people in the United States. And that's ridiculous.
Okay.
That is so unnecessary for people to suffer. Uh, but they're trained. We're all trained to go to the doctor when we feel pain, and understandably so. You want to understand that it's not something really dangerous, acute that's going to kill you in a couple of weeks.
Right.
But it can feel like that for some folks. So yeah, I totally understand that. Go to the doctor and sort that out. And then when they find that there's really nothing acutely wrong with you, then let's start looking at other avenues. But that's just not prominent yet in our world today. It's just not common knowledge that most of these conditions. I talk to people all the time. They're just like, "What? I've never heard this before." So it's just a topic that needs more prominence, and people just need to become educated on it and start looking outside the conventional medicine routes, because it's not working. It's flat out, it's not working. So um, you know, it's frustrating to see people suffer when they don't need to.
Yes, yes. And especially if you know that the chronic pain that they're suffering is layers and layers of issues that they've had, emotions that they've had throughout their life. And when that pill is not working or that surgery is not working, most people are just out of a loss. They don't know that there's another answer. And unfortunately, like you said, in the United States at least, that is I don't know the numbers that where they're all suffering, but you can see it so prevalently everywhere you go. And I myself used to suffer from migraines. Like I would have the blackout migraines, sound really hurt, and I had them like 10 times a week. Now doing that and trying to have a job is very difficult. It gets into your performance, and no one told me any other option other than pain pills. And I went to chiropractic. That helped a little bit, but the pain would always come back, right? And once we understood that there's a deeper level of maybe there's some emotional suppressed pain back there, those migraines went away. There's no more suffering. And I think that a lot of people maybe also be afraid of tapping into that emotion. How do you be able to help them feel safe in a situation like that if they want to try to start unlocking that? I know that as a woman, we might feel a little guarded, especially in today's society. How do we feel safe enough to be able to just unlock that pain and go into that life of what it would really be like with no pain?
Well, sure. That's really the key, in that we have to provide a safe place for them to talk about these things. But the great thing I like about HMT is that we don't have to. I was just working with a lady a couple days ago who had dealt with some sexual abuse.
Yeah.
I could just tell that she didn't want to get into it, and so that's totally fine. You share what you want to share. It's just about that body feeling that you want to get rid of.
Mhm.
So that's what I love about HMT is that we can work on this intensely painful, um, these intensely painful emotions, but we don't have to dig into it and we don't have to relive the
Yeah.
experience. So that's part of the HMT experience is providing safety. We call it a safe place, and
Mhm.
we work on that pain from a some kind of like a neutral third party observer,
Mhm.
observing that person earlier in their life in that physical in that emotional pain. So that's the beauty of HMT. And um, yeah, yeah, that's it. It's just about providing a safe place for them to work on the most painful emotions. And of course, the that's what's so hard about getting started
Mhm.
to work on these emotions is that your unconscious mind is creating that physical pain in your body to shield you from that emotional pain that's back there
Yes,
and causing you so much distress.
yes, absolutely. What are some of the outcomes that you have seen with some of your clients?
Yeah, excellent. So recently worked with a lady, um, a retired English professor that has suffered with migraines for 25 plus years. And she had IBS in the past, but she was able to deal with that. And but this was still an issue for her. And she saw her mom, uh, which I'm not sure how old her mom is. You know, we'll assume she's 20 plus years older than her. So she saw her mom still struggling with chronic pain, and she
Mhm.
goes, "I don't want to be like that.
Mhm.
I've got, I'm 56. I'm young. I want to still live life. I want to travel. I want to have fun. And I'm tired of these migraines holding me back from doing that." So I've worked with her uh, 4 times, 4 times, and she's doing really well now. The migraines are greatly reduced, and when she has that sinking feeling of maybe it's pain starting in her upper back, kind of working her way into her neck, she goes, "Okay, I'm okay," and she's not triggered like she was before. We've
Yeah.
reduced her, we've cleared a lot of her triggers, and um, she's not she doesn't automatically go into that pain and fear loop. She's able to stop it before she
Yeah.
goes there.
That's
Yeah.
amazing that you bring that up because it's been so long since I've had one, but you're right.
Mhm.
There is a fear component when you're like, "Oh no, I'm getting a migraine. What am I going to do? I got to grab something really fast. It's going to be really painful." Or if you're in the middle of traffic and you feel it starting to come on, you're like
Yeah.
panicking, "What do I do?" That's something that a lot of people don't realize that when you do have chronic pain, it is associated with a fear first of just having it. We don't even
Yes.
know what the underlying issue is yet, but the fear
Yeah.
of getting ready to have one is another component on top of that. So
Yeah.
and
Yes.
having
It's a
that
fear.
fear, yeah,
Yep. It's a fear cycle. It's a
yes,
fear cycle. There's anxiety from past trauma that's always omnipresent, and then the pain starts, and then the fear starts, and then it's just a vicious cycle. And
yes,
you have to interrupt that cycle by clearing those emotional triggers from that trauma.
yeah.
That's the key right there.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
how empowering it is for your clients to be able to recognize, hey, it's coming. I'm going to be okay. I know how to handle this. Being able to have some kind of thing they can do for themselves before they can call you and say, hey, I need another session, right? You are empowering them with the tools that they can help themselves be able to be calm down. We got this. We can recognize this. That in itself is as a woman, that's very empowering to have and to know that, yes, I do have the power to be able to handle this and I'm going to be okay. That's amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just putting you in a position to just be free to live your life without fear and we all are gonna encounter stress
Yeah.
throughout life, but it's being able to deal with it once it comes up.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, yep.
So you are part of our collaborative book. Can you tell us a little bit about your chapter?
Sure. I just went into my past, how I kind of came into uh, working with HMT and working with chronic pain patients. Like you alluded to in the beginning, um, went through Jason Christoph's self-sabotage coaching program, Psyche, um, learned some conversational hypnosis, which is really interesting, Ericksonian type hypnosis,
Oh,
uh,
yes.
and then HMT as well.
Mhm.
And I found that HMT really works the best for me in terms of, especially working with chronic pain patients, providing that safety. Because with hypnosis, you can trigger people into
Mm.
reliving that trauma, and I just don't want to do that.
Right.
They're coming for relief, and I want to provide that to them in a safe and gentle way.
Right.
So, yeah, I worked in the tech industry for a while, and I just got tired of. I really want to work with people.
Mhm.
I want to make a difference, and maybe that's a midlife crisis kind of thing. But I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference in the world, and working with machines all day is just not cutting it.
Yeah.
So, being able to help people change their own lives
Mm.
by guiding them along the way, and living for you know the last whatever decades they have left in their life, just living pain free and being able to actually experience life in a present way,
Mm.
instead of always being in this fight or flight all the time. Um, so, and I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangents with analogies,
Yeah.
because permaculture is a big love for me, um, and also just what was it, the black swan of Cairo. That was a total off the wall analogy, but
Yeah.
it was very prescient in that
Mhm.
it talked about suppressing volatility,
Mhm.
whether it's a dictator in Egypt or whether it's repressed emotions in your body. You cannot suppress volatility because the blow up is much worse than the original emotions or the
Mhm.
original um, volatility you're trying to contain. So, um, yeah, repressed emotions is what it's all about. And, I've done a lot of work on myself, still got a lot of work to do, but um, I'm just, I'm just so in such a better place,
Mhm.
just in the last year. I'm in such a better place to tackle what just the stresses of life
Mhm.
and building business and working with my family and all that. So um, yeah, and I'm very passionate about helping people with chronic pain um, just live the rest of their life in a present way, in a present way.
Yes. Yeah, and I know that in America, the last 10 years of someone's life is normally spent suffering, and that's very
Yeah.
unfortunate. And I
Yes.
know that you have that heart center of wanting to change that, especially in the world today, because if we can do that one person at a time, that person, can tell the world what it did for them personally. And I love that you are going after the chronic pain, because I know there's so many people I personally know that suffer from that. Um, I used to myself suffer from the low back pain along with the migraines. And I'm telling you that it might seem very simplistic, right? But it is extremely powerful, the work that you're doing. Because when you are not suffering from pain anymore, when you're not getting up out of bed in the morning and thinking, okay, what's today going to be like? Or is it painful to get out of bed? Just making those simple actions by changing that subconscious programming really truly makes a huge difference. And I can say it personally. I know that you and all of the students that are doing HMT, we all work on ourselves first, right? You make that a daily process to work on yourself because we have to be a clean slate for our clients.
Yeah.
And not only that, but we too want to have a happy and healthy life. And do you seem to work on yourself on a daily basis? What do you do personally?
Yes, I use the HMT techniques on a daily basis, um, to just all those emotional triggers, just clearing them one at a time. I don't often don't even know what they are. I'm just like kind of feel blah today. Well, why is that? Well, let's just get rid of
Right.
it. Let's just get rid of it. And yes, I use those techniques on a daily basis, and my faith is very important to me. My faith in Jesus Christ is very important to me. So that along with my uh, HMT techniques is the daily work that I do.
And just for me personally, I personally have felt that I'm actually closer to God by getting rid of the stuff and the baggage that I didn't need to carry anymore.
Yes,
You feel that
yes,
that same way?
absolutely. Yeah, I've learned that over the last year.
Yeah.
I've learned that over the last year in that uh, those if it's anxiety, whatever it is, just you can't be present. And
Right.
if you can't be present, how can you have a relationship with God or really anyone else in a genuine, authentic fashion? Um,
Right.
when you've cleared enough of those triggers to get your head above water,
Yeah.
then you can start to feel that presence
Mhm.
that it just wasn't there before
Right.
because my head was too busy. My head was
Yes.
too clogged up and responding to everything,
Mhm.
versus just being there to listen. So it just gets better and better and better.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And we, Gabe and I myself, over the last year ourselves have really, worked on ourselves as well. And this is really spiritual work that we all do. And we don't really understand that until we really get into it. And we're like, oh my gosh, I feel the presence of God more now than I thought was possible.
Mhm.
And when you understand that and know that God really didn't make us to suffer, he really truly wants
Yes.
us to live a life of abundance and to be happy and have good experiences. When you realize that, it's you want to do it more.
Yeah.
Want to work on myself more every day.
Yes. Yeah. Having that presence with God.
Mhm.
I mean, God is the source of infinite wisdom, love, everything, everything, knowledge, everything.
Yes.
And when you're able to tune into that and be quiet and be still with that, and without anything getting in the way,
Yes.
it's just your life just gets better and better. It
It
really
really
does.
truly does.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really powerful for our listeners and our readers. It truly is a spiritual, powerful thing. And when you're doing the work with James, you're gonna get that connection, and you're gonna feel less pain, like he said, and you're gonna be even more connected with God. And it truly is profound. I don't even have the words for it because it really is truly that
Mhm.
profound.
Yeah, there really are no words for it.
Yeah.
Just you have to experience it, I guess. Yeah,
Yes.
you have to be present and go, wow, I feel amazing.
Mhm.
Nothing bothers me. Nothing
Right.
bothers me when you have that presence of God
Mhm.
available to you. So yeah, with chronic pain, there's just there's so much potential
Mhm.
for people to get healing And
Mhm.
it's pretty, every case is different. Obviously, everybody reacts differently to trauma,
Mhm.
but it's pretty darn quick.
It
It's pretty
really is.
after so much suffering for some of these folks. Uh, the the ability to heal is right there within their grasp,
Mhm.
um, in just a few sessions. It really is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, conventional medicine has run its course with
Mhm.
chronic pain. They've been looking for decades of how to deal. I'm in Colorado. I think there's at least 13 pain management clinics up and down what we call the Front Range here, Denver,
Yeah.
Colorado Springs. Um, and what are they offering? They're offering injections. They're offering physical therapy. And physical therapy is great, but it's
Yeah.
not permanent. It's
Right.
temporary relief.
Mhm.
And I understand if you need temporary relief, I get that. Drugs that don't work, injections that don't work long term, and you'll just constantly be going to them. And I think that's the hard part, is that a lot of these folks that suffer with chronic pain, they've resigned themselves to the
Yep.
fact that this is just how it is.
Right.
This is what I have to do, and I'm just going to suffer the rest of my life. And it's just not true. You don't
Right.
have to. You don't have to.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And you're right, because I think that in the conventional medicine world, they are very good for trauma. Like
Mhm.
you have an accident or you need some acute care. That is something that you must do. But they're trying to create a lifelong client, a lifelong customer. And in your line
Yes.
of work, I know you specifically want to get to the root cause as fast as possible so that that client can feel relief as soon as possible. And like you said, every client's different, but you truly want to get them out of that pain as fast as possible so that they can go on and enjoy their life and tell others about you. You're not trying to make a lifelong customer out of them. Is that something that
Absolutely. And I can't remember Dr. Jack Cruz.
Mhm.
If you're familiar with him, he calls it they want to make you a medical annuity.
Yep.
That's what he calls it. So no, no, I want you to be pain free, and I want it to happen quickly for you.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, everybody's different, obviously, but I want it to happen as fast as possible for you. And that's my goal when I work with clients, is to get them relief as quick as possible and get to that root cause. And that's what it's all about. That's how you get there. That's how you get relief quickly, is by getting to that root cause, because they've danced around it for forever,
Yeah.
as long as they've been in pain, they've been dancing around the root cause. But now it's like, hey, with the tools of HMT, we can get right to that root cause and get you some relief, quickly, and short-term relief and long-term relief.
Right.
It's a long-term solution.
Yes.
It's a long-term solution. And conventional medicine doesn't offer a long-term solution.
Right. Exactly. Is there anything that you want our listeners and our readers to really take away from this interview and from your chapter, other than what you've already said?
Yeah, just that I'm very passionate about wanting to get you relief as soon as possible, and get you on your way,
Yeah.
living your life, and leave it all behind. You're just gonna go, wow, that was a long time, and wow,
Right.
what happened? What happened? How come all of a sudden pain? This is amazing. And
Right.
no more drugs, no more injections, no more endless doctor's visits and arguing with insurance companies.
Yeah.
Just it's over. It's done. Let's
Yes.
move on. Let's go live life.
Yes.
A lot of them don't remember what life was like before they got
Mhm.
diagnosed, for what that's worth.
Right. Right. So when they
Yeah.
come to you, be prepared and have a plan of what you want to do when you're out of pain, because you're going to
Yes.
be able to experience it.
Yes. Yes. When I'm talking with them before we before we work together, I'm like, well, what do you want instead?
Mhm.
What do you want instead of what you're dealing with right now? And oftentimes they have no idea how to answer that question
Right.
because they've stopped thinking about it. They've resigned themselves. And you don't have to. You don't have to.
Yes.
You can heal and live the life you had before.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% authorize that comment right there. It's true. It really can be true.
Yeah.
So, how do our readers and our listeners reach you?
Sure. I'm on Facebook, all over Facebook, James Breeding, just like it sounds,
Mhm.
all over Instagram and TikTok and YouTube as well. So just contact me there. And my website is still in process. It's jamesbreeding.com,
Okay.
but it's still in the process.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll put, if you can give me all those links, I'll put those links in
Yes.
the comments below so
Yep.
that everyone can find you easily and in one step. And I for all of our listeners, if you are thinking that life is not possible without pain, I'm asking you from my heart to give James a try, because imagine what life would be like without pain. And it could be as simple as a few sessions with James, and your life could be completely transformed. Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you so much, James, for joining us today. Be sure to check out his chapter in our book, The Way to Wholeness, Stories of Physical, Mental, and Emotional Healing. We are releasing that later this week. Thanks so much for joining us.